Hello and welcome back to Triple Tech, and today I'm going to show you how to take interesting pictures in a boring environment. Now if you've looked at my Instagram at all over the last, well, probably 2 years or so, you'll see a lot of my pictures are actually pretty much in pretty boring environments, but I tried to make them look pretty interesting. But the question is, how on earth do I do that? Well, there are a few things that you can do to try and make the most of the environment that you're in, and also add a few things artificially. So where I live in the east of England, it's very, very flat and it's very, very boring. I mean, just look around. We're in a very, well, it's an empty sort of fieldy environment really. We're just in a bit of a clearing inside a paddock sort of field thing. But we're going to head down a lane which is just outside, just past so let's have a gate down here. I was just walking around a corner and a robin was just sitting on a branch literally about 2 meters away from me. And it just flew off. I just missed it. God damn it. No, it's literally just around the corner. See if we can get it. It was literally just in this bush. I think I've lost it. God damn it. Oh well. Now the first thing to note really when you're in a very boring environment is to realise it's not always boring. There is no such thing as a place with literally nothing. We are in a field right now with very overgrown grass, and right now, in coming up to golden hour now, we're starting to get some lovely shadows overcasting across the grass. Now you can see here that we're getting some very interesting looking parallax effects really around this grass area, and you know, that's just something you can use as a bit of foreground really, just to add a bit of interest. You see, this is another thing as well. We have a tree in the background here with the sun right behind it. Now if we can just get this in the perfect position, you can use this to your advantage. Blimey. So really taking advantage of this sun. We can use some of these foreground elements to make some good looking pictures. Let's finally go out onto that road, shall we? Or lane, should I say. Oh. Tell you what, a glide cam with a C100. It's not friendly. It's not friendly at all. It's the last time I'm taking you out. C100. Jesus! Okay, so we're on the lane now. This is going to be quite a nice sunset. It's going to be quite sort of, not those over the top sunset. There aren't really any clouds. We're just going to have the nice colours of blue into purple and pink. I think, at least that's what it's like at the moment. We could get something interesting later on. There are some clouds on the horizon, but it is very clear today. But yeah, let's see what we can get. Now, I just saw some puddles over there. Let's go and see what we can do with them. Okay, so one of the main things really to remember about being in the countryside, a very boring place, is that it's also very wet. I know this very much because I actually got my car stuck here last year I think actually, in this exact place. And I think, yeah it was. Actually just behind the camera now is where all the skid marks are. Yeah, they're still there. Anyway, we're going to make the most of this puddle. So, reflections. In the wet, it's something to keep an eye on. Always remember in the evening, exposed for the sky. Sometimes you have to do a bit of trial and error to get it right. But once you've got it right, you can bring those shadows up in post. See what we can get by being further back. So that's really the thing to remember, is just don't be afraid to go into more detail than usual in your normal, typical wide landscapes in mountainous regions. Don't be afraid to go into a bit more detail. Another thing is to bring in subjects into the image. That could be yourself. You could set the camera up on a tripod, like right now, and use yourself as a subject to draw the eye in, because in a big wide open space like this, there's not really much to draw your eye to. Let's see what more we can get. It is difficult. It is difficult. Another subject idea which I have used in the past a few times now is to bring a car down a lane. That's another idea. In the summer/autumn, you'll also have another thing to think about, which is all the fields are going to be full or high up. Might be fun to jump in, take a few nice pictures. Here's the problem with using a manual lens, right? You've got to focus on yourself, but because there's no pins on the lens, you can't really preview it very easily. Yeah, who knows? And probably the last thing to think about is don't be afraid to explore. There are a lot of boring places, but throughout all those boring places, each one will have their own one shot that might be worth it. So if you have access to explore, access to the means to explore, whether that be a car, grab on a bus, just go for it. Don't be afraid. And you will be surprised in post. You will get some pretty interesting shots. Just realised we're getting a bit dark. I've been putting off doing a lot of photography recently. Really trying to focus on YouTube, the video front of things. Although I do talk about photography a lot, I use a lot of my old pictures which I took back in, well, the last 2 or 3 years. This is really kind of why I wanted to talk about this in this video, because being in the middle of nowhere, and I've photographed this place so much, I just get a bit bored of it after a while. So I think that point of me, and for you, to go and explore a bit more, applies to the both of us, really. I think I'm going to call that a day. I'm not calling it a day just yet. The light is just becoming actually quite cool now. So yeah. That's pretty good. I think I'm going to call that a day. For real this time. Thank you very much for watching. If you have any questions about trying to be inventive, oh my god, is that the moon? The moon is bloody massive. Anyway, yes, thank you very much for watching. If you have any questions, do ask them below about being inventive. Give us a like as well, really helps. And subscribe if you'd like to see more. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next episode.